Ready, and test.
Wait.
Bert,
I don't see your screen.
I can't share my screen. I'm out of memory.
We'll get more memory and then share your screen.
I'm literally... And welcome to Space Chicken, the podcast that's super excited about E3. I am Danny. Joining me as always, above my head in the new format is Burke. Say hi, Burke. He's drinking.
Cheers to Thurrott.
Right. Then to the right of Thurrott Teraflop is Burke. No, to the right of Thurrott Teraflop. Scott, sorry. Under Thurrott Teraflop is Burke. Go ahead, Scott. Say hi.
Hello.
And the inspiration for Thurrott Teraflop himself is Wilson. Say hi, Wilson.
Hello.
All right, and welcome to our E3 Spectacular, our one podcast to rule them all concerning E3. So I don't know about you guys, but the one I was most excited about was... Hold on, let me make this work. Boom! Gwent! Right? Gwent? Am I right? Was everyone totally stoked to see the mini game from The Witcher 3 become its own card game? Right? Was it just me? Was I the only one like high-fiving people?
No, I mean, look at the excitement on Scott's face and the confusion on Thurrott's.
I was like, what? Gwent? What is that? Oh, yeah. So I only bring this up. We're going to spend no other time on Gwent other than to say, in the podcast we've already recorded called Why We RPG Part 2, I talked about Gwent and could not remember the name of the card game. And we literally recorded that the day before, like, E3. And we didn't post it because we were going to... we recorded ahead of time. Technical stuff. Then the Gwent game pops up during the Xbox presser, and I'm like, oh, fuck, Gwent, there it is. And I'm like, oh, God damn it, now we're going to do a podcast where we talk about Gwent, and then have a podcast that gets published later where I can't remember the name of the game. So just for the record, that's what happened. All right, enough Gwent. Berkey, what was your game of E3, the one that got you most hyped?
I wanted it to be Batman VR because that was unexpected. They said they were done making Batman games, at least in that format that they have been doing. You know, clearly those things make money. They were going to make a new one, but the Spider-Man game caught me off guard a little bit, and a couple of those have been good in the past. So I was quite excited about those two.
Now the Spider-Man game was also VR, right?
I think it'll be both. I think it's, normal or VR.
So that's the Insomniac game, right?
Yes. I believe that was the Insomniac game, yes. Looked pretty good, though.
Yeah,
those Spider-Man games, back in the day, they superhero games were always terrible. Superhero games based on movies were always terrible. And then Spider-Man was pretty good. Spider-Man 2 was a little bit better, open world. You could fly around a lot bit more, web flinging all over the place. And then the Batman games totally just blew everything out of the water. So I'll end up playing both of those, I imagine.
So VR or just regular on your PS4 for the Batman?
Well,
we'll
see. I mean, the last Batman game tanked on PC, right? Like, everything was fine when it came on Xbox and PlayStation, and it was Bug City on PC, right?
Yeah.
To the point where they gave people, they just said, we're not going to fix it, and gave everybody their money back.
Yes, that 100% happened.
So we're expecting PC VR to be better than PlayStation VR, but I'm kind of thinking Batman might be better on PlayStation than it is on PC.
Well, that one's going to be exclusively. That Batman game is exclusive for PlayStation. What did you think of the Gears of War? Not the Gears of War, the God of War.
Not a God of War guy.
Really?
Yeah, that was never my jam. I'm not a big third person guy, so.
Old man Kratos didn't do it for you?
I mean, it was a good trailer, and if you were into that game, I imagine that's a pretty excitable trailer to watch. But that's not a.
Yeah, but
Not ever been mine.
Into the game, it looked nothing like a God of War game.
Yeah, well, no, but you're basically your old man Logan. You're doing the retirement story, and it's clearly something's going to happen, and he's going to have to come out of retirement or something along those lines. But
right, but I'm less interested in the story because not that I'm less interested in the story, but I'm less. How do I want to say this?
Worried about the lore.
Yeah, because they're gonna take care of that. It happens in the God of War universe. Like the whole feel to that game trailer blew me away. Like that whole shift, and I think in the thing that they showed on, and it's playing right now. I don't think he like does like juggle combos or anything like, because it was very Devil May Cry, the combat system, and the God of War, and it was QTE heavy. Well, in the original God of War, I didn't play the last God of War, but it looks like it's gotten away. It's almost like prettier, more violent Skyrim is how it looked. Right? Did anyone else get that feel from it, Scott? When you saw it, did you get like a Skyrim feel? It might have just been the snow. I might just be like, oh, snow, Skyrim. But
no, it might have been just the dragon.
I kind of got that feel. I always have trouble with those types of games. You know, Burke said he didn't really like the third person thing. Like the kind of when they offset them to the left. Gears of War kind of does that too, but I have a hard time with those games for some reason.
Really, with the over-the-shoulder view, which that offset to the left is the over-the-shoulder view.
I guess
to a straight third person, which is slightly above and over the head.
Skyrim
is slightly above over the head, and Gears of War is over the shoulder.
I feel like I'm missing something. Like I feel like I'm not seeing enough when I'm in that for some reason. But I don't play them often enough. I enjoyed the whole vibe of the gameplay trailer that they had, where they were like hunting and then, all that stuff. It was pretty cool. I don't think I've ever played a God of War game though. Can't remember.
Yeah, they were all good, but like I said, they literally were nothing like this. Well, they were violent, and there was a bald Greek guy, and they were QTEs or whatever. But again, like he fights these guys, and he doesn't bounce them off the floor out of Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry. So this is there. Like I said, it has the look of like a Skyrim, but it has the violence that is indicative of a God of War franchise. And how that kid's not traumatized, by the way. With his dad just literally cutting people in half and basically molesting them with an axe.
It was so awkward to show children.
It was, but I told my kids don't like this. So Scott, what game made you all hot in the haunches?
There's the two that kind of caught my eye was Gears of War, because Gears of War was something I played with my brother, and so I love the co-op kind of experience with Gears of War, and I never got to finish number 3, so I'm kind of interested in I have to finish up that for this, but I like that storyline, and
even though you're just complaining about the off-center
right,
camera,
so I said, if you remember, I said which is kind of like where I struggle with Gears of War, but I think it's better in Gears of War than it is in God of War, but I think that I kind of I enjoy the storyline and kind of the combat in Gears of War. I do enjoy third person more than first person. I like the whole hiding behind stuff and that kind of stuff that's in Gears of War. But I really enjoy the co-op experience in Gears of War.
So, big fan of the cover system?
Yeah, like you run up to a wall, you cover, you hop out, that kind of thing.
You would love the Division.
Yeah. But I will say it was between that and on the PlayStation, it would probably have been Resident Evil, just because I always loved Resident Evil way back when, original PlayStation. I was always a huge fan. Now, the whole VR thing, I'm sure we'll get into. I really don't know what that's going to be like, because in the previous episode, I'm not really looking forward to VR. That's really not my thing. But I'm interested, just because I like that whole atmosphere.
Yeah, we'll cover the systems, like their pressers and stuff, in a little bit, and what the systems brought to the table. But Resident Evil, so they've gone 1 through 6, and Like I remember Resident Evil 1 came out, I was like, oh, amazing! And then, like if I went back and played Resident Evil 1 right now, I would punch my computer screen. How limiting that gameplay was, and how like instead of like you were just talking about third-person camera being offset to the left. How about playing a game where the camera is wherever they would put the security camera in the hallway, and that was basically where your vision was stuck. That would drive me crazy now. Like back then, I thought it was great, but over time, like I feel like the series has gotten visually better, and some of the game mechanics have gotten much better. But I don't know. I've had a lot of trouble getting back into that franchise, man. So,
well, it's supposed to be going back to its roots, right? More of a horror game, survival game, less of a combat orientated skill game. You know,
I thought the funnest one was Resident Evil 5. It was just action based, and the fact that it had co-op, it was great.
Mexico? What was 5 when they went to Mexico?
Yeah.
6?
No, 5 I think is when they went to Mexico.
Okay.
Or no, 5 I think is when they went to Africa, maybe. No, that was 4, right? One of them. Whatever.
What
game
did you like? You said you liked the game. What were the details of this thing you enjoyed? I
enjoyed the multiplayer aspect of it. Listen, all you worry about is like you're in a room, you're shooting zombies, then you're out of a room, you're in water, you're shooting more zombies, then alligators attack you. I think if I remember correctly, I fought a shark once. It's a bunch of like random stuff in one thing.
You're thinking about a vacation in Florida, bro. Fighting alligators and sharks, that's definitely just a trip to Disney.
Oh.
Showstopper.
You can't follow that up?
Blew him up.
You can't follow that up.
That's it, we're done? All right. Okay, so without doubt, I thought the show stealer for me was, and it was a game that they had talked about last year, but I didn't pay attention to. I don't like the years that they do announcements. Like I like the gameplay year, like the year where they show you some gameplay, and the one that got me all hot was For Honor. For Honor was amazing. Did you guys see this at all?
We're all like trying to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did
The
the
three people that fight for no reason.
Okay, so yes, the story. I'm a little confused about exactly what would make knights, Vikings, and samurais fight each other. Especially for the knights and the Vikings to get to the samurai, they'd have to like either go around Africa or through the Americas. Whatever. I'm not worried about that. Apparently, some evil person like destroyed the world, tricked the 3 factions into fighting an endless war, and now the 3 factions want to fight the person who started the endless war. However, before they do that, they have to kill each other first because you have to fill in, hours of gameplay. But it's super violent, and I don't know why that gets me off, but it's like super. Not super violent. Like God of War is more violent than this, but God of War is like almost cartoony violent, even though it's not cartoony violent. But like, the dude cuts a monster in half, like from shoulder down to the waistline, in the God of War thing. Like that's not really something you could do, like conceivably that clean, like in real life. This is violence, but it's none of it's real.
Stabbing a human being in the face is a lot different than stabbing a monster. And
I mean, this guy was kicking people in the face. He was throwing them off ledges. He was axing them in a collarbone, and it's great. And it's like I wonder, like these are the things that like went through my head when I was playing. When I think about the community, right? Because I signed up for the alpha immediately after, I think they went on day 2 or day 1 of E3.
Yeah.
Fucking first thing I went to the Ubisoft website, signed up for the alpha and the beta because I want to be a part of this game. But I wonder, just as far as culture goes, so let's push it out there because if anyone wants to see the gameplay, they could totally look it up. It's like a 12-minute gameplay. It's playing right now. But you can go on YouTube and find it, and it's great. The combat system, it seems simple, but
it looks like Dynasty Warriors to me. Is that
nothing
what the
like
stream is
Dynasty
showing?
Warriors. Because you can't like hit 50 people at once. You have to fight everyone. So it's like a free targeting system when you fight. So you can just swing your axe and just hit people next to you. And then when you fight boss-like characters, you'll like lock into them and fight them one-on-one. And that combat system is different from the free-flowing combat system. Like it's subtle, but it's robust. It's high, right, and then left. And if you matching your opponent's fighting stance, you'll block if they throw a melee shot at you. If you don't, you'll get hit, and vice versa. So if their stance is high, and you go low and swing, you'll hit them. But if you're fighting against someone, you want to match the fighting stance, position of a melee weapon. So it's like it's simple, but it's still kind of like
there's some complexity
you really
to
need
it.
to pay attention. You can't mash. The video just showed the guy just getting it fucking right in the gut with the axe. so here's the thing that went through my mind when I watched this, right? You got Vikings, you got samurais, you got knights. Sample size of 4 people. Let's pretend we can all get this game, right? Will, what faction are you?
I'd probably say knight.
Scott?
I'm having a hard time because I actually have it playing. I would say knight. The Viking guy seems cool, but
really, knight? I would Burke.
Well, normally, if I had gone first, I probably would have said knight. But knowing these two are picking knight, I'm gonna go samurai.
The Viking guy looks.
We all
pretty
went
good.
knight.
You guys have
They
totally,
look badass.
Totally disproved my thought process. All I was thinking is no one was gonna choose knight, right? Everyone wants to be either a Viking or samurai, and out of 4 people, 3 of you went knight. All right, I'm totally wrong on this. I'm fucking way off the mark. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I seriously, I'm watching this. I'm like, no one's like, I want to be like, and the type of knight in this game is like full helmet knight, not beautiful Game of Thrones knight with like hair and shiny armor.
I kind of like
there's archers. That sounds like Scott.
It probably would be me. No, what's funny is I'm watching it and like it's like making your mind rattle. Like, what if we took the best knight, the best kind of Viking, and the best samurai and put them in a fight? Like, who would win? I think that's a cool concept. I'm just thinking about it right now.
Yeah, it's like a bananas good time. Like I saw this thing and I'm like I saw the whatever last year, and I never like put any like vested interest because how many games at E3 you got a teaser trailer for you never see. You won't see those games 3, 4, 5 years. So I'm like, I'll wait for the trailer that's like this to get me all hot and bothered. All right, second most interesting game, Mike.
Battlefield.
Oh, Battlefield 1.
Battlefield.
Yes.
Battlefield. I'm a sucker for a good period piece war game.
So just so everyone watching knows, this is only a 2-minute trailer. It's gonna loop a few times. As we talk about Battlefield. All right. Period. Battlefield. Talk to me, Mike. What's from Hardline? Let's draw the narrative, right? Because we got to go back because everyone's saying the same shit back from 1942, right? Battlefield 1942 up to Hardline, and now we're going back to World War II or
World War One.
World War One. I'm sorry. What's good? Talk to me. Just say stuff now. Fill the void.
Well, Battlefield start they're on a very similar path that Call of Duty was for a while. They started with these period piece video games about putting you in an experience that happened 60 years ago, whether it was storming Normandy in Call of Duty or if it was fighting on a Pacific island in the original couple Battlefields. Then they both advanced. They both had to go to a more modern feel shooter. And that's really when I made the switch from Call of Duty to Battlefield, because the Battlefield, basically 3 and 4, I thought were miles ahead of Call of Duty. Call of Duty is just a spam shooter. You spawn, you shoot, you get killed. You spawn, you shoot, you get killed. Battlefield, you can actually set some stuff up. You can you can have, if you have a couple guys playing on the same team, you can support each other. Like I would be the machine gunner and my buddy would be the sniper, and I would, machine gun the hill when they were trying to get to the sniper who keeps shooting them, and he'd snipe them as they were trying to find where the machine gunner was. So there's more tactical situations I find in Battlefield. So going backwards at first, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, oh, now we're going backwards and everything's going to be a single shot bolt action rifles and, maybe some old Sten guns or something like that, whatever those really, like the first machine guns.
The old M1 Grand single shot.
You're going to get a lot of
Springfield.
single.
1903 Springfield.
Yeah, you'll get Springfields in World War One. You get Mausers and Chesterfields or whatever the other things that the.
Hold on. No question about that. That didn't It feels like every weapon in that game was an automatic weapon, except for maybe the one that they used. At least from what I saw, the footage that I saw of people playing it, except for the one that shot maybe the little sniper one, which I think was a Springfield. That didn't bother you? Like I kind of looked at it and I said,
"There's two different things going on, right? You got the campaign will probably be more up to you, right? Most of those games you can kind of, even if you spawn in with one weapon, if there's one you prefer, as soon as you find it when somebody dies, you pick that one up and you run with that. The campaigns tend to be a little bit more accurate historically, but let's not go crazy. None of these games are exactly accurate historically.
Just quick note for the people watching on the YouTube, not listening, the video's not freezing. Like I said, it's only a 2-minute video, so I'm pausing it at parts that I think look cool, so that it's not just a video on loop. It's not freezing. Just small technical note, producer stuff. I don't want anyone to think the video is freezing. That's not what's happening.
Breaking down the fourth wall.
Hey, I don't want anyone watching this going, dude, is it freezing? And they're checking their internet connection. Like that. That's not what's happening. So it's weird. Like before we. See, I was already chiming in, but we'll get to Will in a second. That's the thing that got me excited about this, because Call of Duty was winning, right? And Call of Duty was winning, and that's a referendum on the gaming community on a whole, right? So I'm gonna come off as a little snobbish here, but the Call of Duty crowd to me is like the first person equivalent to the Madden crowd.
They're the people who leave comments on YouTube videos.
Right, and so it's a thing where it's like, I played Advanced Warfare, right? Modern Warfare 2, not Advanced Warfare, Modern Warfare 4. And I was like, oh, this is such an awesome and fun game. And then every game after, I was like, oh my god, this is the same game. And Battlefield went from these massive, like, games where there was a line. Like, this was the front line. And you'd have to push the line forward. And Call of Duty didn't do that. Call of Duty went, oh, we're chaotically shooting at each other, and you died, now you're just going to spawn next to your buddies, immediately shooting at each other. Where I remember from real Battlefield, where you would spawn at spawn points that were determined by how far forward you pushed the line. There was a team strategy concept. It wasn't just kill the enemy as hard as you could. And I know people who play Call of Duty say, well, you got to get drops, you got to get UAV, there's strategy. Yeah, look, you're sneaking around knifing people. Shut your face. You and Counter-Strike people. Shut up. There's like just whatever. So you had to push that line, and like you said, there were different roles, and the roles mattered. It didn't just change your loadout for the fight. Like, it was important, and everyone had a role to play in the team. And that was what was great about Battlefield. And even when they went to the modern era, it was giant 16v16 maps. Where
Big maps.
I remember, like, if you only got 4 people on a team and it was a 4v4 on a 32-player map, you wouldn't see anyone. Like, you would literally just get lost in it. And it was such a great feeling. And the last iteration of Battlefield was such a disappointment, because they were just trying to be Call of Duty. And I get it. Call of Duty was making money, so you want to be like the money maker. But it was sad. And that's what got me excited about Battlefield 1. I'm not going to get it, by the way, just for the record.
But
not,
I think,
and not anything against it. It's just like my plate will be just too full of games, and I know this will be the one I won't get to.
Gotcha.
So,
but I thought I agree with you a little bit on 4, I felt like 4 was that, them trying to gather the Call of Duty crowd, because they had those tight, closed door maps that you could just fight one-on-one, which were apparently some of the most played, and one of the biggest gripes with like Hardline and Battlefield 4. But 3 was the one that had that really jam-packed, like these really tight rooms. While 4 kind of distanced itself a little bit more. But I really like Battlefield 1 because it takes you back to games like 1942. I played 1942, and it was awesome. And then I even played 1943, and it's one of the only games that I have 100% achievements on. And it's like you say, you see a bunch of automatic weapons and stuff, but the single shot weapons, they're ridiculously strong. So you hit them with 2-3 shots, one headshot, and it's done. So it feels really rewarding to get a kill with, a single shot weapon. And it's, I don't know, I like the old school style. And it also, like, I don't know if you guys got to the part where they have the blimp coming into the game, and Zeppelin? Now if you destroy Zeppelin, sorry. Yeah. It comes into the battlefield.
Just real quick, only because ILO corrected me on M1 Grand did I correct you on Zeppelin, because I needed a point.
Okay. So if you destroy the Zeppelin, it'll actually land on the battlefield, kill everyone who's underneath, and then stay there. And that's insane. Like, you wouldn't get that off of Call of Duty. You wouldn't even come close to even be on a Zeppelin or planes or tanks or anything like that. It's just like Burke said, it's just, shoot me in the face and laugh and be happy about a kill streak.
All right, Scott, you're number 2, you're runner-up.
Well, I think my first was probably Gears of War. My second was PlayStation, was Resident Evil. I'm trying to think of what was the other one. Slipped off. What are the? Do you remember I sent you? What the heck was I sent you? That
you're right. You did blow your load. You went with 2 on your first. Your first thing. All right, so I'll be nice and skip over, because if I open up the messenger, it's gonna screw up my screen. Will, your number 2 game?
It has to be what's the zombie game? Days
Rising?
Gone. No, Days Gone.
Okay. Well, you did not send me a list of trailers to download, so you don't get to pick a game that was not on the list of trailers. So we're gonna go ahead and break the Mass Effect was on the list of trailers.
Yeah.
So just so everyone knows,
that one in.
In preparation. So like right now, I'm pushing my PC to the limit because I'm running video, I'm recording video, I'm doing all this stuff, whatever. So to get it to work like this, so we look semi-professional, I needed to download all the videos ahead of time, and I asked for a list, and only one guy didn't give me a list, and it's the guy in, it's the ugliest guy on screen. Okay, Mass Effect Andromeda. Whoa, did this get me excited? I have not been excited about anything about this Mass Effect since they started talking about it, and I still have problems with the fact of there's no way to reconcile the first 3 Mass Effect game and any future that happened after it, but I'll play along. I'll play along just because this game looks phenomenal. Go ahead, Will.
Well, I'm actually a little scared. So I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm a little scared. One of the writers, and correct me if I'm wrong, left the game. One of the major writers for the whole story, the overarching story with all the lore and all that stuff. He left.
The Bungie.
Yeah. So that has me scared.
He finished writing the game, though. Right? At some point, you finished writing that game.
I love he went to the one team that needed a story writer.
He certainly did. But you finished. That's what, like, it made some waves when it was announced, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, he's bailing on Mass Effect." No, he finished the job. You write the story, and then it has to be made into a game, and that takes like 2 years. That dude does not have to sit at Mass Effect and wait for the video game to come out. He can go write something else.
Thank you for clearing that up, because
I'm trying to
this game was.
I'm trying to assuage your fears. Rory Nunn wrote the story. He wrote the story.
All right. Yeah, I think that was the only thing that had me nervous about that game. I wasn't excited before, but now I'm interested.
So, as I understand the story that you're afraid of, it takes place years after the events of the Shepard Mass Effect game, which is by the way a total like Elder Scrolls move, right? Because like Elder Scrolls would always do that. Elder Scrolls would be like, hey, you remember all that stuff you did that was really important? We made it not matter by fast forwarding 1,000 years into the future. And so I get it. The only problem that I'm going to have, I need to know how they're going to reconcile the universe, because I know the gameplay is going to be fantastic and I know the story is going to be great. But how in the fuck, if I chose to make humans and robots live in perfect synergy at the end, spoiler alert, at the end of Mass Effect 3, if that was one of the 3 options that I chose, how the hell are you going to tell me? Hold on, I'm finding a good spot to pause the thing at. All right, that doesn't look good. How are you going to tell me that now, 1,000 years from that, suddenly humans and robots aren't now one synergized piece? Or if I had chosen to make robots not a thing at all and destroy all robots and technology, how is it that we're back? It sounds bizarre, but I can't, like, how are we going to bridge that gap? Like, I get it, we're in a different galaxy. I get it, but I just, in this other game, so that's where I'm at with it. This is going to be a must-have for me. This is probably going to be a day one pickup. I don't know if it's going to be a day one pickup for you, Will, but it's going to be a day one pickup for me.
Wow, spending the full price.
Yeah.
$60 American.
Well,
Will wait till it's 25, but he'll talk to YouTubers about it in between.
Wow. By the way, it was 23. I got it on sale for 23. Okay.
And
by the way, they're showing
$23.
Yeah, I was gonna play it, but then ended up playing Destiny without you, and then discovered that my Vita works well with the remote play. But what I was gonna say was, you see, you got me off track. I was gonna say Mass Effect is not one of those games that is offered for, what is the $10 gift card that Microsoft gives you?
No, don't have one.
Yeah, they don't have one.
You're too cool for me, bro. You have a $10 gift card. All right, so my runner-up game. This is I don't know how you guys are gonna feel about this, but it was South Park and the Fractured But Whole.
Oh, I knew you were gonna pick that.
Yeah, we weren't surprised at all.
Here's the thing. Fuck you guys. Did you play Stick of Truth?
No.
No, dude. It was like funnier, more self-aware Paper Mario. Like, straight up. Like, if you enjoyed Paper Mario, like, there's no reason that you shouldn't enjoy the Stick of Truth. Like, and it was great. And then if you enjoy South Park too, there's a lot of internal references, but there's a lot of like self-aware gaming stuff. And again, spoilers if you don't want South Park Stick of Truth ruined for you, but they do a lot of stuff in it. Like when you're selecting your character name, they're like, you have chosen douchebag. Do you want your name to be douchebag? And you're like, no. They're like, are you sure you want your name to be douchebag? And you're like, no. They're like, your name is douchebag. And there was like this one fight, and I'm sure this happens a lot to all of us in an RPG, where there's a fight that you lose, but you don't understand that it's actually part of the story that you lose that fight. So the fight is actually unwinnable, and that literally happens in the game. You get to a fight where it's to introduce you to the other faction, that the L faction that Kyle's in charge of, and they tell you straight up that we can fight, but there's no point in fighting. And I was like, no, I'll fight you guys. And the guy's like, no, there's literally no fun in fighting us. And I was, yeah, I think I'll fight you guys. The fight took 15 minutes. I won. And at the end of the fight, the guy goes, I told you there was no point. And he hit me over the head with a club and drugged me away. So, you know, but that again, that's a very self-aware gaming thing they did. It's not the only thing that they did in there that's self-aware of the gaming industry on a whole. and then all of the internal South Park references. And I am a big South Park fan. I'm not a South Park historian. I'm not gonna like. I don't want to out fan someone to South Park, but it was an oddly, not the deepest, but a pretty deep RPG a la Paper Mario. Again, that's the closest thing I could get to it. The gameplay dynamics that was good. So I was excited to, like, it wasn't even something that dawned on me when I was playing the game. Hey, maybe there'll be a sequel. My brain couldn't comprehend
you're
that.
playing it for PC?
PC, yes. I'm playing it on PC. I got it on Steam sale, and it's just been nonstop. It's been great. So clearly, you guys have nothing to add to the fractured butthole conversation.
Nope.
So let's talk.
Well, I got one for you.
Hit me.
How about the game that you saw? You know you're gonna hate, but goddamn it, when you watch the trailer, you're like, I really want to play that.
Which one's that one?
Fucking Call of Duty. Call of Duty in space. I don't want to play Call of Duty in space. I don't want to play Call of Duty. But that goddamn trailer looked fucking phenomenal.
That original trailer before they get to space, you know, where you're kind of on the ground and you're being invaded, and all of a sudden you're kind of like watching.
Real quick, time out. Admin note. I'm gonna leave the fractured butthole thing on loop because Future Warfare also was not on the list you fucker sent me, so I don't have the Future Warfare video. So we're just gonna have fucking Cartman doing the movie schedule just on loop for the YouTube crowd. But go ahead.
Technically, this fractures my butthole.
Okay.
I think that everybody had the same impression when you're watching it, and they're like, "Oh, we're being invaded," whatever the plot is, and all of a sudden you see him hop into, you're like, "Wait, what are you doing? Where are you going?" And all of a sudden you're in space, and you're like, "Oh, here we are. This is happening." I was just like amazed that it was happening.
You mean the fact that the story just immediately disappeared, and you were just flying
like a TIE fighter and just kind
of... that's just fuck it. Yeah,
that's it. I was like, I know I'm not playing that game. I know I'm not gonna fall for it. When that game comes out, I'm not gonna fall for it. I'll put it on Twitch and be like, I knew it. It's not gonna live up to that trailer. But that trailer looked great, and it did for a hot minute. Made me go like, am I gonna fall off the wagon? Am I gonna? God damn it! I might buy a new Call of Duty. And then I was like, no, it won't happen. It won't happen. But I was like, boy, that trailer gave me a chub for a half a minute there.
I've got a oh shit! You did say Call of Duty. I got the Resident Evil 7, and I downloaded that. I did not see the Call of Duty there. But don't worry though, I'm running a Titanfall film in the background.
Oh.
Titanfall 2's in the future. Do we want to talk about that? Because that video is running.
I didn't play the first one, and they said that the first one there was no single player, right? It was all multiplayer.
The storyline for Titanfall 1 was delivered through key events during the multiplayer campaign. You'd have to be paying attention to catch the story. To the point where I still don't know what the hell the story in Titanfall 1 was. But I know, like, if you go online, you can find it. People have cut up all the pieces of lore that they squeezed into Titanfall 1. Which is very weird, because that was a huge complaint of Titanfall 1, and then Destiny copied that story delivery method. Where they're like, you'll find some stuff. You'll figure it out on your own.
I'll figure it out. If you're really interested, you can go read it.
You want to shoot stuff? We've got shit for you to shoot. Titanfall was a lot of fun. Titanfall 1 was a lot of fun. I played it for 3 months and stopped. Titanfall 2, I am not picking up. But
yeah, same here. It looks awesome. But I fell into that trap once. I'm not going to fall into it again. That looks like that is the game. Like Titanfall looked like that was the game when you watch the trailer. It's the same thing. It just looks like they have new animations. Now the robots fight. They have voices and stuff. But I don't think that it's gonna really like change over time. This is not like Call of Duty or anything like that.
Call of Duty blows.
It's just gonna be like just flatline the whole way. You enjoy it for 3 months and done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It ended up, for me, it wasn't worth the 60, like I said, for Titanfall 1. I'm not saying this game's not going to be good, but I have to discriminate against the games I play, especially a game like Titanfall, that's going to be very multiplayer centric. That once the community moves on, there'll be no one to play with.
Definitely.
A la Evolve, because I thought Evolve was a really fun game. I didn't get it. The community moved on, so I never got it. And and Evolve people will strike back, tell me they still play, but let me see. Sleeper games. I had just real quick. Honorable mentions, just real quick. Dead Rising 4.
That does look good.
Super excited for it. I've played every Dead Rising game that there's been. They haven't always been day one buys for me, but they've been must plays. At some point, they've all been good. Who's played Dead Rising? I've played it again. I've played every game. Bird,
Played the first one.
Play the first one. Okay, so after playing the first one, did you possibly think there'd be a sequel?
No.
No, right? No fucking way. They made 4 games in the same universe where zombies are just a thing we deal with. Like the first game was like,
and a movie.
Zombies in a mall. There's like, what?
They made a movie?
They had a TV show. Was it a TV show?
I thought it was a movie. It was very dreadful. It's horrible, but
wow.
Yeah. So it was this weird thing where like you go to the second one and it's like, oh, there's a drug called Zombrex that you take, so if you get bit, you don't turn into a zombie. Like that part of and it's like a game show where you kill zombies. And then in part 3, they were like trying to weaponize it and stuff, and all this other nonsense. And then in part 4, like if you follow the series, the fact that Frank Castle's back and he's been in every one of them. He's made a cameo. He was the guy in the first one, and he's been it was just exciting, and to watch him taking selfies in the teaser trailer for it was so awesome.
Yeah.
And again, it's a teaser trailer, but it's the game that I know it's gonna get made. Like this one's gonna happen. That what got me excited. And then another sleeper game that I found. I don't know if you guys checked it out. It was called We Happy Few.
I heard about it.
We Happy Few.
Yes, I am very much into surreal games.
Yeah.
Like I have a Stanley's Parable, just went on Steam sale, and self plug. I don't know when, but I'm totally gonna stream all of Stanley's Parable, start to finish, slowly but surely. I don't know if it's gonna be on a Hitbox or a Twitch, but I'm just gonna blow through the whole game. Never played it before, super excited. But
I want to check that out.
It's a game very much in that spirit where you're playing an experience as much as you're playing a game.
Yeah, that game looks really
What was
creepy.
the point of that game? I couldn't figure out. Like,
Stanley's Parable?
He was on meds. He was on happy meds.
So the basic premise of it seems to be that it's a rethought of a 60s era piece, where kind of like a what's the thing with the thought criminals? Burke, help me out here. Movie with the thought criminals, 1984. So it's very out of 1984. Like they're like erasing bad stuff from the past or whatever.
You're welcome.
And they're all on no problem. And they're all on this drug called Joy. And the Joy makes you think that everything is fine. So it's basically like a nation. It's European. Like I'm gonna go with English. Nation of sedated society. And from the trailer, you decide to no longer be sedated because you stumble upon a news report that actually has to do with your past. Like your job is to erase the past of bad stuff, and you stumble upon a news report that talked about something bad that happened to you, and it like breaks you, and you refuse to be this comatose, drugged person, and now you're gonna fight back against an entire world of drugged out people. And as you go through this journey and you suffer through withdrawals, from what I can tell, you start to kind of see the world for what you thought it was because you were on drugs, to the reality of it, which seems to be horrible. Like the reality of it seems to be fucking terrible. And I love games like that. And I love movies like that too. Like aside from superhero movies, I really can't get into mainstream cinema. But if you give me something a la that one movie with a comet that flew over that fucked up time or whatever, and Schrodinger's cat, Terrible with names of shit.
So you really enjoyed that pinata scene.
That pinata scene was so great. That pinata scene, it's coming up right now on the recording. So yeah, so like right now what they're showing on the screen is it's clearly it was someone resisting the drug. It's a child, and this older guy just drugs him, just puts a needle right into his neck, and the guy's immediately like not sedated to be unconscious, but immediately like, hey, the world is great. It's like I want to take that ride. I want to take that journey. Like this got me excited. This comes out this year too.
It's a indie or like straight up,
it looks
big
like
title.
It looks like an indie game.
Okay.
Looks like an indie game.
Looks confusing.
That pinata scene.
That pinata is the best. Right now, I'm not.
Oh, they have other trailers too. Like you actually go outside. I thought it was like a Fallout kind of thing that they're like in a bunker or something, but the trailer actually shows them outside.
It's a drug, dude. It's a nation of drugged people, bro.
Yeah.
It's an entirely sedated world. But I guess like again, like I'm into these games, but a lot of stuff happens at E3, and if you watched our spoiler episode, like I have to stay away from a lot of stuff. Like I'll watch trailers, but I'll try not to watch like walkthroughs. Like a lot of times they'll be like, "Hey, here's the first 15 minutes of a game," and I'm like, "How about you go to hell and not rob me of my first 15 minutes of joy when I buy something?"
Ruined it.
Yeah, because the first 15 minutes is usually the hook. So you're gonna deny me my first 15 minutes? You're just terrible people. So like I have to dip my toe in, but I can't dive in it. And
hey,
go ahead.
How did you guys feel about that new the new Konami game? Not Konami,
the guy from Konami, right?
Yeah, that fucking guy.
I can't remember the name.
Oh, damn it. But whatever it is, that game, it looked weird as hell. I can't even remember the name of it.
Good talk.
Yeah. All right. So
it was just weird.
So
even better, because we missed one.
Since you can't remember, you guys want to move on to
it was
fighting games?
Kojima, Death Stranding. That's what it's called.
Another game that wasn't on the list. All right, fighting games. Two games of notes. Tekken 7.
Tekken.
No.
King of Fighters.
No.
Tekken was only the only fighting game that I ever really liked, and that stopped after Tekken 2. Like, I remember playing that on the original PlayStation and thinking, "Oh, this was awesome," because that's like when graphics seemed amazing, and then I realized I didn't really like fighting games. Like, they get old really fast for me. I don't understand why you would buy it. Like you buy it, like it's something you go to the arcade and play. Like you're in the arcade and you want to fight somebody, fine.
Oh,
but I can't see.
Arcades don't exist anymore.
I feel like am I the only fighting game fan here? Because there was also Injustice 2.
Well,
so
no,
I'm alone on this subject. Should we veer up? Should we barrel roll out of this? Because
I just have a question. For you on it. If you play it for 1 minute, let's just stay on this for 1 minute. Is that you buy a fighting game like Tekken or whatever, and the concept of the game is like since Mortal Kombat is you fight one guy and you kind of work your way up a ladder depending on the difficulty or whatever until you win, right? That's kind of the game. Mm-hmm. Like single player, like if you're not playing with other people.
Yeah, they've added storylines to them, and now like Injustice had a whole storyline to it, but
the Injustice storyline was pretty good.
Yeah.
At the end you kill Superman, or you imprison Superman.
You're in prison. Spoiler
alert.
Damn.
I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in that.
That doesn't bore you at all. I would.
It does. That's why I never finished Injustice.
Well, not you. I know you don't like him. Something about Danny.
So this is my stance on fighting game, because I was an arcade kid with fighting games, a la Street Fighter and King of Fighters, and Tekken 2. Not Tekken 1. I never played Tekken 1. and I had a fight stick. I don't have the fight stick anymore. I had the Street Fighter 4 fight stick, and I loved it. I played Dead or Alive. I still occasionally will pop on Killer Instinct for the Xbox. I grew up on fighting games. What has happened with fighting games is there are no more arcades. They're all played online now. You basically play the story to get familiar with the characters, and then you go play online. So it's about playing with other people. So as a guy who plays a lot of Smite, the difference, of course, is there's like 74 gods in Smite now. Where it's like a 64-man roster in like the most expansive fighting games that there are, like Marvel vs. Capcom, for example, another fighting franchise that I've loved forever. And apparently I'm the only fighting game fan on this panel.
I did love Marvel vs. Capcom. Those games were a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had no idea, by the way. Like I'm almost devastated to know that I'm the only guy who likes fighting games here. Like this E3 made me sad.
They were good 15 years ago.
They were.
This E3 made me sad that King of Fighters won't be coming to Xbox because I play my fighting games on consoles. I don't play it on the PC. So, and I loved King of Fighters, so I'm sad I'm gonna see that. Happy Tekken 7 is gonna be on Xbox. Another game I won't be picking up because apparently none of my friends play it. So I won't have anyone to fight with. But what ends up happening is when you play online, the delta of skill is vast. Like it's enormous. Like I can go online and I can like literally beat up on kids, and then I can go online and literally never hit a dude. And granted, eventually it'll level out, but it does hit that gap where it's not fun for me anymore because I'm just not skilled enough to do it. So I drop off. But yeah, so only fighting fan here. With that, only one Nintendo game got me hyped.
Zelda?
The one and only.
Zelda.
Of course.
The only Nintendo game. And as we put out Zelda, where is Zelda? Hold on, I'm looking for Zelda here.
I don't even know what system is even that coming. Isn't there a new Nintendo system coming out?
That they won't show till next year, you mean?
No,
So what is this thing going to be on? The Wii? Wii U?
Nintendo made no hardware announcements.
They didn't make any announcements, period. I don't even think they showed up.
He literally went in and stared at a PlayStation for an hour.
Yeah, you saw the picture? I was like, no, Reggie, no. What's wrong with you? He looked so sad in that photo. Oh,
He's like, look how cute it is.
Oh man, he's like, "Why we could have thought of that."
They've done what they've done for every E3 for near a decade, is they showed off a bunch of great first-party titles that I will never get a chance to play, unfortunately, because I am not gonna fucking shell out money for a Wii U to play like what's that splatter game? Like Nintendo's best game in 2 years is a paintball game where you shoot the fucking floor. Like, that's been their best game in 2 years. It's like, no, don't shoot the person, shoot the floor. And don't get me wrong, it's fun, but is it worth the investment in Nintendo? I have no idea. This game, though, makes me think differently, because this game is like Minecraft meets Zelda kind of deal, where Aiello's not impressed. So you
it made Burke yawn.
Yeah.
But I love Minecraft.
Yeah, so it's like you get to build your weapons, you create these kind of like systematic rules, like you can creatively tackle obstacles by like chopping down trees, making bridges, setting stuff on fire. He's setting stuff on fire right now in the video, using leaves to move sails. Like, it seems like it would be a really fun, interesting, awesome game that I will never play, because it's going to be on Nintendo, and this Nintendo E3 might have been the worst of all time. Like, literally, if they weren't showing this game, which apparently everyone at Nintendo's working on, they're not working on anything else. It was this and, like, another Pokemon game.
Of course.
Another something Monsters game.
By the way, we're with you all the way. We have no plans on picking Zelda up, right? I agree, guys, right?
Nope.
And we can agree with you that Nintendo sucked this E3.
They blew hard. But with that, let's talk about how did the PlayStation do. Berkey, you're a PlayStation correspondent. Talk to us about PlayStation.
So when are you getting yours?
I am not picking up a PlayStation.
Horizon Zero Dawn has your name literally written on the box.
So the PlayStation, games that they had were amazing. Their exclusives were really good. I was very, very proud of them. It's been many a E3 that the PS4 was like, hey, you want to play these games. One of them I already mentioned was King of Fighters, but that's a moot point. The VR games, and we'll talk about VR in a second, did not get me. But this game, Horizon Zero Dawn, got me.
New Dawn.
This game.
Is it new?
No, it's
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn looks pretty badass.
This game got me like literally excited. Like no other game that they showed got me excited. Again, slight disappointment for King of Fighters, and then the VR games, which I'm like, and again, we'll talk about a second. I'll play games like that on PC that will be much better performing. This fucking game looks incredible. First of all, it's beautiful. Like that alone takes me away. I hate to use the word aesthetics, but the aesthetics off the chain. You got me there, but I'll tell you what, I'll come over and play. I'll come over and play. Like I'm not gonna buy a P, especially now. Especially right now when they're keeping under wraps whatever their PS4.1 is gonna be.
0.5.
Whatever it is, like I'm not investing in any hardware.
All right. Well, we'll start a Kickstarter. We'll get a GoFundMe going, and we'll have our 11 subscribers on YouTube.
On YouTube, just
Each
I think it was 12.
Bucks.
yeah, they're gonna have to get $100 each.
No, come on. You can come up with $100 yourself.
So
I know you have a job. I know you have kids, but I know you have a job. So you got time. It's not coming out anytime soon.
no,
$10 a week. $10 a week.
$10 a week, but I want a VR headset for a thing, and since we're on that, circle back around to the PlayStation VR. Wow, do I feel like they're forcing this? Will actually sent me an Engadget article earlier. Credit to whoever wrote it. If you could look that up, Will, because I'm going to talk about just at least the first quarter of it real quick, and I don't want to seem like I didn't experience the VR. But when I saw it, a lot of stuff blew me away because I have a heavy-duty gaming PC. And I future-proofed it when I bought it, and everything's great. And my rig cannot handle VR. It can't handle the Vive, and it can't handle the Oculus Rift. But my rig is better than an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4. And if I can't handle VR with something I know is better than those two pieces of hardware, how could either one of those pieces of hardware do VR? And the Engadget article written by who? Will?
Jessica Condit.
It was a bigger statement about VR, but the beginning of it said that people who are trying out the PlayStation VR at E3 were suffering from motion sickness, something that doesn't happen when you use the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift, and one of the reasons cited for them getting motion sickness while using this VR headset versus the other VR headsets was the fact that the hardware on the PlayStation 4 could not actually handle it, so it doesn't give you that crisp, actual full immersion VR, and it's more of like a face cover with a TV. Paraphrasing, maybe drawing a few extra conclusions. If you guys want to check out the article, it's on Engadget. It was written by who again, Will?
Jessica Condit.
Awesome. Do check out the stuff. It is a really good article, and again, it talks about VR on a bigger scale as far as gaming. It talks about some shady stuff the Oculus people are doing, but they're owned by Facebook, so what do you expect? I personally am a fan of the HTC Vive. That's just me. But I just think it's a bad idea. Like, I think it's a bad idea to force it because they feel like they're going to be left behind, but they're trying to get a step ahead in a market that right now is being pushed on PC. So their main competitor is Microsoft. So they're trying to get ahead of Microsoft. But in that particular competition, lines have been drawn in the sand already. So it's weird to push it out so early when we all know that Sony and we'll talk about Microsoft's announcement. No, we can talk about Microsoft's announcement now. They announced the Scorpio, and they just kept saying teraflop, 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 GPU, GPU, GPU.
No.
And they were saying all that because they're basically saying, hey, we're going to do 4K gaming and VR on our next piece of hardware that comes out next year, so that you understood why VR wasn't coming out this year while PlayStation with the other way said, we're going to do VR first. But again, just from my own logical conclusions with the hardware I have at home, I know it can't be that good. And then from this article that I read, it's not that good. So I don't know. We'll start with you, Will.
So I think what Sony's trying to do is the same thing they did for 3D.
So when do you think that PlayStation's going to come out with their good VR?
So I don't think they are. I think they're just gonna continue to flood the market, and like that's it. Just like 3D TV, you know, they're just gonna keep pushing it out, cramming it into every little thing they can, not really pushing the technology any further. And
you don't think that any of the consoles are gonna get it good?
No, I think the PC market will push it way further than the consoles will ever.
So what about all the Microsoft teraflop talk?
6 teraflops.
So much.
I think the teraflops are cool. My thought is that Microsoft is, you know, like the Gears of War and a few other games are cross-platform. So cross-platform buy. So if you buy it on Xbox, you play it on PC. So I think that's what they're going with. So I think what they're going to push towards is creating the Xbox into a PC extension. Obviously not allowing Steam, but probably trying to, you know, start up games for Xbox again, kind of thing. And you'll be able to play on both PC and Xbox. And I think that's what they're pushing more to.
I still think, but it's like you could say, when you said it's more of a gimmick for the systems, you could say the same thing about games in general, right? Because PC is always going to have a better gaming experience as far as graphics, because you can up the graphics cards, but the consoles still work in a decent fashion. So maybe the VR will be the same way. Like, sure, you'll get the better experience when you're on a PC, but I don't know. I feel like they're gonna have to make this work.
Well, the way that I felt was that essentially PC was kind of the ones that started the whole 3D thing with the red and blue, and then it kind of started slowly progressing towards like the stereoscopic 3D glasses, to eventually the ones that are charged and stuff like that, polarized, and then eventually leading into 3D, right? I mean, it's a VR. It doesn't feel like Sony is really interested in, you know, investing money. Like, I think the only reason they invested money into Blu-ray was because everyone made a consensus that we need to have a bigger disc to store stuff in. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no other alternative. I don't think that Sony is the company to really push a technology like that.
Interesting.
And that's just my opinion. I don't see VR going very far, especially when if you read the article that Danny mentioned by Jessica Condit on Engadget. She essentially says that the Resident Evil for VR for PS4 is running at 60 frames per second. And obviously this is probably the beta of the game. So hopefully the game, when it actually comes out, it'll be at a faster frame rate. But the minimum for PC is 90 frame rates, right? And people are still getting sick off the Oculus Rift. So you get what I'm saying? So Sony's not even pushing the minimum.
People with motion sickness are going to sick whatever. I think the article was pointing out that people who don't get sick playing Oculus or the HTC Vive, are getting sick because you're forcing the low resolution. what you said earlier about Microsoft being a PC extension, I disagree. What I think the business model for Xbox is going to be going forward seems to be like, hey, we're going to make Steam boxes.
Yeah.
But that run the Xbox games on it, and then you'll just buy Steam box equivalents, right? Because they're Steam was like, hey, we'll make Steam box consoles that run Steam OS to just play Steam on, and Xbox is going, what a great idea, we'll do that, but we'll run Xbox games on it, and that way the Xbox brand never dies, and the games work on everything, except they'll run better on higher end Xboxes.
And that's what I was talking about, because before they had games for Windows, and that died off because Steam is by far the superior platform. So I think now they're shifting over, and they're like, okay, well, we're doing fairly well in the console market.
Steam is not a superior platform. You just get games for cheaper there. We got to be careful the way we describe that. The superior platform is the Xbox, like the user experience on the Xbox. Again, I use Steam. I use Steam in full screen mode. If I had the money, I would get a Steam box too. Except for the fact that when I play on my computer, it's because I'm a one TV house. The TV will be occupied. That's why duality approach. But the user end experience is better on an Xbox than it is on a Steam box.
They did say, and I gotta find this online, where they're saying that the Xbox app on Windows now will show you where your friends are playing, whether it's on an Xbox or it's like the top 1,000 PC games or whatever it is. So I think that they're opening that up so that, like you said, I could be playing a game on Steam, but you're going to see it. So you're using the Xbox app to communicate rather than the Steam app or rather than using anything else. You have the Xbox app to kind of control all your gaming things, especially with the introduction of clubs and stuff like that into Xbox.
Right, and it's actually great. So let's talk about that, because we transitioned from VR and then natural segue to Xbox, which was great because they were the last group to talk about. Xbox has had a habit of introducing a game feature, and then when a game feature is not picked up by game developers, they simply just make it a standard. Clans is something that's been in games for the longest time, and Xbox basically went, okay, fuck your clans, not every game is making clans. Another yawn face from Burke. We're going to make clubs. That way, across the platform is clubs. We're going to bring back background music. We're going to let you build your own tournaments in competitive games. That was, I might be the only person amazed by that. They're like, hey, you want to have a 16-person Smite tournament with your friends? Boom, 16 fucking team Smite tournament amongst your friends. Just do it. You want to do it like Call of Duty? Go do it like Call of Duty. Whatever. It's giving like that community control back. Like they had, I think, where I think again the PS4 announcements really got me hyped for their games. Xbox conference got me hyped for the Xbox.
I'll tell you what. Can I?
That's true.
The best thing about the Xbox announcement was the Play Anywhere, because I took a look at it from two perspectives. One, if you are single player a game, you could literally play it on the Xbox, bring the controller, because now it's Bluetooth enabled, with your laptop wherever you go, and keep playing the same game, no additional cost, and continue on the airplane, in a hotel, wherever you are, and it saves all the time. Or if you guys pick up Gears of War and you have it on the Xbox, I can get it on the PC and still play with you and still do co-op and still do all this stuff. And I think that is finally bridging that gap of, like, maybe I don't have the money for the Xbox, but I have a really nice gaming PC and I want to play with you guys, but you don't have a gaming PC. So that right there, that blew my mind, because I don't see PlayStation doing that. I only see Xbox doing that.
And oddly enough, like, the most boring part of the Xbox conference was Minecraft. Minecraft. But Minecraft was like, hey, if you're on an iPad, I'll play with you. If you're on a PC, I'll play with you. If you're on an Android phone, I'll play with you. They were like, basically, it doesn't matter what platform you're on, we can all play Minecraft together. And I like, again, that made me, like, excited for Xbox. But I will tell you that the fact that the Scorpio, whatever it ends up being, the Xbox One Prime That's what I would call it. Whatever it
The
is, it's coming
Xbox
out.
teraflop.
Yeah, the teraflop of justice. That is literally gonna make sure that I don't buy an Xbox S. Because I thought about it, like when the rumors came out, I'm like, I might want a smaller white Xbox. I'm not fucking buying it now, just on the mere fact that next year something else is coming out. So I feel like they kind of, like, if it was a reserved consumer like myself, they shot themselves in the foot by announcing it.
But they were smart about it.
Well,
listen,
I
they
wouldn't
got
give them
rewarded
all that
for it.
credit.
I'm excited.
No, because look at it this way: if they had not mentioned it, and you got all like, "Oh, I want to get the Xbox One S," and you bought that, and they said, "Oh, by the way, this is coming out," you would have been like, "F you, Microsoft! You pissed me off. You're coming out." You know, this is like, listen, it's there if you want it. We're coming out with this. You make the choice. You know, so I thought that was.
I definitely agree with you there. I think they were good at that point, and then they dropped the ball when they announced the S. Because, like I was talking in the chat, at one point, well, what the screen said was 2 terabytes for $299 as the starting price, or as just the price. And then you went to the website to make a reservation, and it literally just said now $399. Like the price change from his announcement to yeah.
It's
And then they're like, oh wait, yeah. By the way, we're having like 3 tiers, and by the way, that $299 that he mentioned was going to be available in August is now going to be available in December, maybe.
Well, they said that was a placeholder, but you got to keep in mind.
Yeah,
though,
but that's insane. That you're dropping the ball there.
But here's the thing: for $299, if you think about it, for $299, you're getting 500 gig, which you can get the external hard drive, but you're also getting the cheapest Blu-ray player out there right now for HD, Ultra HD Blu-ray player, right? So you're getting something that costs like
what is this Blu-ray you speak of? Hey, listen. I think we kicked the shit out of E3. I think we're the real winners. And hopefully this time next year we'll be at E3. Hopefully, if we play our cards right.
When it started getting good.
Yeah, we have to. We just. I mean, just in case anyone's wondering, you just need to get media credentialed, and you can go to E3. So
I might be busy.
Yeah. I mean, we'll send you line notes. But right now, in the middle of everyone's screen, just so everyone knows, the mighty space chicken has been named. This is something that we've been working on throughout the month. His name is Thurrott Teraflop, the destroyer of couches. And as this came about, I'll tell the teraflop part of the story. That was inspired by E3, by the Scorpio announcement, where they just kept saying 6 teraflops. They just kept saying it over and over and over again, and it just stuck with me. It became the word of E3. Now, the Thurrott story. If Aiello, could you explain who Mr. Thurrott is for the concerned viewers, and then we'll transfer over to Burke and how much he loved the name.
Well, he's just a Microsoft commentator. You know, he's been doing it for a long time, and we just had been discussing. We were going over articles about different people who wrote articles, like that woman from Engadget, and I brought up that, and for some reason, Burke really liked his name. I don't know.
I thought it was a typo.
So,
I thought it was a typo. I thought your phone auto-corrected some weird thing in a Thurrott. I'm like,
no, that's the gentleman's name.
There's nobody named Thurrott.
So in honor of those 2 events happening this week, combined with the fact that we're constantly putting Wilson's face on the space chicken, and the fact that Scott was moving a couch today, we have Thurrott Teraflop, the destroyer of couches.
And somebody has a couch in their background sitting up against the wall.
Yes, and that is the couch that Thurrott Teraflop is going to destroy. I want to apologize in advance for the choppiness of the feed that came through, and by in advance I mean you've already sat through it. So I have not found the limits of my PC until today. Today I found the limits of my PC, and it is trying to run video, images, and live video feeds all at once in perfect synergy. So I hope you guys didn't mind everyone else freezing in place while they were talking. If you enjoyed the stuff, please click the button if you're watching us on YouTube, that like a button and that subscribe a button. And if we're doing whatever the hell it is that you do, rate us 5 stars on the podcast directories to move us up in the world.
Yes.
Social media information in the description.
Hey, Danny, real quick before we go.
Yeah.
Next episode, more teraflops.
More teraflops. Even though
the teraflops.
Next episode is actually going to be Why We RPG Part 2, which was already recorded. But whatever. The episode after that, teraflop or balls off.
Hey, will my new PC be able to run VR?
Yeah, it will.
All right, let's have a good night, everybody. Let's have a good night.
All right. Flip the
Auschwitz today. How you guys doing?
All right. On a serious note. So, I've always had this idea of like I always wanted to be like something for someone to listen to on their car ride into work. But it takes a lot of work, and I wouldn't want to do like an hour show every day. That's kind of impossible. So I thought, well, what if you grab the headlines for like the day, and then do like a quick 5 minutes of you run through the headlines, and you just like if I read the headline and then you just gave me like a ridiculous response to each of them, and then just kind of, I don't know, something like that. Under 10 minutes, short, something somebody could listen to when they're getting on the train or something like that. I don't know. Basically make fun of the news.
Dude, you started really strong with your Holocaust stuff and you fizzled out there at the end.
But I came up with a good name for it.
Hit me.
Minute Chicken.
Minute Chicken. I listen, I've already got the tagline. How long does it take to boil an egg? Doesn't matter. This chicken's going to be about a minute.